Juan Toribio, no. First question, go ahead.
Hey, Dave, we talked about him before the game, but what do you think of Kenley today?
Kenley was good. I thought it's his best outing of the spring, and he's just got to continue to build on that. Command of the baseball, mixing different pitches, and was efficient.
We talked to him a little bit earlier. He said he's not taking anything for granted, kind of coming into his 17th year now with the organization. Do you think that can kind of help a guy focus a little bit more, just knowing that this could be the last year, or just kind of focusing on that?
Yeah, I think that the mindset of not taking things for granted is always a good thing. So, now it's just going out there and having that mindset every day.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Next question's from Jorge Castillo. Go ahead.
Dave, what in particular made this one his best outing? He's had a pretty dominant spring overall.
I think that the location of the cutter, the location of the two-seamer, the breaking ball for a swing and miss down below the zone, the tempo, all that was good.
He mentioned that basically he was trying to be more efficient this year, and the best way to do that is to be in shape so you can repeat his delivery. Is that sort of something you guys communicated to him?
Yeah, I think the efficiency, the command is a byproduct of, being in great shape, being able to repeat your delivery. Certainly, yeah.
And just something before the game, you were talking about being in shape. You mentioned Justin Turner's weight loss should help him on defense. Just wondering how so.
Well, I just think that Justin is more agile, more mobile than he was, all of last year. And so I just think he's just physically he's moving as good as he has in the last few years for me.
Does that help with positioning, perhaps positioning him in better places this year?
No, I think that position, I think we do as good a job as anybody. And now it's about, the range factor and all that stuff, where I think the first step moving to his right, he's already made some plays this year that he didn't make the plays last year. So I think that right now the lateral has been better.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next question's from Eric Steven. Go ahead.
Dave, Will Smith, he homered today. I know that was his first time playing in back-to-back days. Is there going to be a point this spring where he catches a little more often, or are you going to keep splitting with he and Austin? Is that sort of the plan going forward?
Yeah, he'll catch back-to-back days at some point. Yeah. Just right now, he's still going deeper into games, catching 6-7 innings. But yeah, at some point he'll go back-to-back. Yes.
And then David Price is starting tomorrow. Is he still getting stretched out at this point in the spring?
Yeah, it'll be a 3-inning situation for him tomorrow, and he's been throwing the baseball well, so just want to continue to build him up.
Thanks.
Yes.
Next question is from Bill Plunkett. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, the way you guys used Julio in the postseason last year could have been interpreted as a loss of faith in Kenley, and we asked him about that today. He dismissed it. Did you have to talk to him and reassure him about that?
No, not at all. I think that it's been very clear that, last year was an odd year. And right then at that point in time, Julio's throwing the baseball as well as anybody, if not better than anybody. So he was rested. He was in a good place. He's throwing it well. So I felt no reason to take the ball out of his hand.
You and Andrew both have said that your bullpen is the best version of itself with Kenley as closer. Why is that?
I just think that he's a guy that's done it time and time again. He gets left and right out. And it also just frees up a lot of other guys to get the right matchups that we need. So certainly to have the guy at the back end that's stable, that's consistent, I just think that makes everything work the right way. But again, it's about performance, and that's the way it should be.
With Buehler, his changes during the offseason, what are you seeing as a product of that? Is it just starting everything sooner, or is there something else to it?
I think that it wasn't just a stop. I think he kept his arm moving all winter. I think that allowed for him to start ahead of where he has in the past. Right now, if you're talking about his third start, in third start in years past. I think he's certainly ahead of that. And it's just constantly just trying to evolve and figure out what works for you. And, at this point, I think that Walker feels comfortable with where his arm's at, his body's at, and how he's throwing the baseball.
When people talk about your starting rotation, the focus is on the three guys that have won Cy Youngs. And then Buehler is mentioned as someone who could win one in the future. Do you think he's motivated by that?
I don't know. I mean, I think that obviously when you win a Cy Young, you're the best pitcher in your league. So that's certainly a goal, obviously, to be the best, at whatever you do when you're comparing yourself to your peers. But I think Walker's very good about staying in the moment and trying to be the best he can be. And, where that leads, is where that leads. But I don't think that that's what's the driver for him.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Next question's from Dylan Hernandez. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave.
Hi, Dylan.
Hey, you guys have been, especially like on the rotation side, right, pretty flexible, or just even with the pitching staff as a whole, pretty flexible with like pitching roles. And I was just kind of wondering, why was it important for you to kind of designate Kenley the closer?
I think it was important because I think that people at times, I think number one is his year. He didn't have a bad year last year. I think that he wasn't throwing his best in the postseason. And I think that people are quick to be reactionary. And for me, to kind of continue to instill confidence and confidence that is deserved in the player, I think is important until it's not, until there needs to be a change. And I just don't feel that with what he's done in recently, as far as last year, warrants talk of a change. So as we do look out, I think it's important that performance does matter and is talked about. And Kenley is aware of that. So I just felt that at that point in time in the winter, Kenley was our best option and still is our best option to close games.
But it was also kind of you had a bit of that in 19 too, though, right? In that national series when you sent Kelly out for that second inning, which kind of traditionally would have been Kenley's spot. I guess what makes you think that he's now a year older. In the last couple of postseasons, I think, right, it did seem like, yeah, okay, right, this isn't a guy we want to go to in the ninth inning. What makes you think he can do it this year?
I just think it's timing. I think that I expect him to be consistent all year. He's putting in the work. And I think when you're talking about the postseason, Dylan, it's about who's throwing the baseball the best. And so, at that point in time, whether it be 19 or it be 20, I just didn't feel at that point in time Kenley was throwing the baseball his best.
And just one last one. Obviously last year we had the thing with Julio moving from the rotation to the pen. Obviously this year, right, a lot's been talked about, kind of your surplus starting. I'm assuming in October, some of the guys that are, kind of designated as starters right now, we might see them in the pen. As you're kind of, I know it's kind of a long ways off, but as you're kind of forming your bullpen over the course of the season, I mean, is it, kind of, do you view that as an advantage? Does it make it kind of harder in terms of kind of figuring out who fits where and stuff like that?
I think it's an advantage. I'm not going to get too far ahead of talking about the potential postseason, but I do know that we expect more than 5 guys to take on starts this year, and to have guys that 7, 8 guys deep that are major league starters you can trust taking the baseball to start a baseball game, I think is important. And also to have certain guys in the pen that can log valuable innings in an outing, I think is also very valuable. And it kind of allows us to manage the workload for the other relievers as we come off a very unusual season.
Thank you.